Going around the table really quick, who here considers themselves a feminist?
Like, do I believe in equal rights for men and women?
Well, I think that's different than what feminism is, but I know people have different definitions of what feminism is.
So what's your definition?
Well, he doesn't need to give you his definition to have you define whether or not you think you're the thing or not the thing.
Into the mic, please.
I don't identify with modern Western feminism.
Andrew, are you a feminist?
I am not.
Okay.
What is an Eastern feminist?
I personally I don't know if there's such a thing even as an Eastern feminist, but I don't think that the things that feminism here in the West have become about currently are actual real issues. I think that, there's a lot of women out there crying about, hey, we can't show like our armpit hair, we can't free our nipples on the street, while there are women now who still don't have access to education, who don't have access to their own bodies, who are being married off at 12 years old and younger. And I think that those issues are far more pressing for women than not being able to show your boobs on the street.
You mentioned, actually, that's the only right that I can think of that men have that women don't, is the ability to go shirtless. I cannot think of any right in the
They don't
U.S.
even have that right. It just depends. It's all
Yes,
it's all
in some cities, yes, the women can be topless. Interestingly enough, though, even if it's legal, women aren't like chomping at the bit to go topless in public. So
it's very like performative, I think, what's going on here.
Yeah.
I think women have gotten so many rights and so many privileges here. I see a lot of women, like people that I know personally, complaining about these, topics that aren't so important, that are not life or death, and things like that. And I haven't heard them say a word about women that are getting circumcised in Africa, things like that are being in Congo, Sudan, enslaved. Oh, I'm so sorry. Things like that.
People have difficulty. Never mind.
I'm sorry. I forgot. But there are real issues that are going on where women are being, just actually tortured and
So why do you think
victimized.
modern feminists don't give a shit about them?
Because I don't see anyone speaking up about these issues.
No, why do you think modern feminists don't give a shit about them? They clearly don't. What do you think the motivation is?
I think because the society we live in here in the West is very self-centered, and there's no sense of community, and it's all about me. What can people do for me?
Yeah.
What can the world do for me? Oh, I don't have these things that I want, materialistic things most of the time. What can they do for me? Versus, these other women, these other people around are suffering. What can I do to help them? It's all about ourselves, and I think we've gotten so privileged here that we've just started inventing things to be upset about and creating problems when there aren't things to complain about that much. There still are things here, but still are things going on here, but
yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop there. It's hard for me to express myself
That's good.
in English.
That's good. Well put.
Really well
put.
said.
That was beautiful. Okay, so.
And I've seen it with my own eyes. I'm sorry to cut you off, Brian, but I've seen it with my own two eyes. I've seen things going on the other side of the world that are completely unfair, and women being barred from going to school and being barred from even leaving their houses and being forced into marriages and things like that are awful. And does anyone here ever say anything about it? No, they don't care. They just are mad because, I don't know, there was this issue about the things on the street being called a manhole. They were like, that's not fair. Are you serious? That's not an issue. You're fine.
You know what's actually funny about that? The whole policeman, fireman, manhole.
So are you wanting to export feminism then to solve those issues?
I don't know what the solution would be, but I do think that there has to be maybe a human rights thing more so than feminism.
But that's what feminism was, right? Was egalitarianism is a human right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the question. It's kind of it's kind of an odd thing, right? So you say feminism leads to all these bad outcomes. And the bad outcome is all these selfish people doing all this selfish shit and trying to figure out problems that they're going to invent. And then you say, but wait, look at these other places where there's all these problems going on. Shouldn't we export the thing that caused all the problems over here in order to solve all the problems there?
Yeah, I get your point. It is very complicated. If there was, just because of how humans are, we are very selfish and greedy, and it's kind of, you give someone an inch, they want to take a mile. So I think it is an interesting conversation to have about how can we give these rights and get these women in other places, the things that are essential without it getting out of hand as it has over here, which...
Can that be done?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone knows.
That's the question, right? It's like, can that be done? I don't think that can be done. I think when you're talking or you're saying we need to export the thing that caused all these problems to solve all those problems over there, it seems like it just connects with brand new sets of the same problems that you're trying to solve here. It's like, does that actually work? Does exporting Western values to fix these Eastern problems work? Not really.
Well, I'm not sure about exporting Western values specifically, but I do think that...
Well, what's feminism if it's not a Western value?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Western value. So it's like it doesn't work. It doesn't work to solve whatever these, kind of perceived issues are. It's like you brought up arranged marriage, right?
Yes.
You have a problem with arranged marriage?
I personally don't have a problem with arranged marriage. But I do think that
because it's a system which can work, right?
Yeah, I actually, in my notes, I wrote that I'm actually, I think we should destigmatize arranged marriages, but I think that there are conditions. So obviously both parties are consenting, both parties are of age. I think if it's just the thing where it's, parents kind of being like, we think you two would be a good match, meet each other, talk, go out a couple times, see if it works, and then if those people are down for it, then great. But I don't think it should be this thing where we found you a husband, you have to marry him, and you have no say, or will hurt you, kill you, kick you out, things like that. But I've seen arranged marriages work in my own family very well, and there haven't been any issues or any concerns that have come up, and they weren't forced.
Right, so just because these are Eastern values doesn't mean that they're bad values or that Western values need to be exported, right?
Yeah, I think not all Eastern values are bad. I think a lot of Eastern values actually are rooted in good things, but again, human nature, you give someone a little bit of power, they tend to take over and want more and more. So I think that things have kind of gone out of hand in the East as well in terms of power and things that, morals and things like that of virtue and all that have gone to the point where women can sometimes be overprotected and shielded inside just to uphold those values.